Good morning, champions. You walk into a room and people either respect you or they don't. It's that simple. But respect is never given for free. It's earned. And more than what you do, it's about what you stop doing. So today, let's talk about 5 habits you must eliminate if you truly want to be respected. Excuses are your biggest enemy. They sneak into your mind disguised as justifications, as logical reasons for why something didn't work out. They feel comfortable, safe, almost protective. But in reality, excuses are silent thieves. They steal your opportunities, your credibility, and most importantly, your respect. You see, every time you allow yourself to say, "I couldn't because of this," you are handing your power away. You are telling the world, "I am not in control of my own life." And the hard truth is, no one respects a person who doesn't own their actions, their decisions, and their results. Look around at the people you admire, the leaders, the visionaries, the ones who command attention when they speak. They all have one thing in common. They take responsibility. They don't sit around listing all the reasons something is hard. They find a way. They don't spend their time explaining why something failed. They find the lesson and move forward. Because when you take control of your life, people notice. They start to trust you, to believe in you, to look up to you. Respect is not about perfection, it is about accountability. It is about being someone others can rely on, someone who doesn't crumble under pressure or shift blame when things don't go as planned. Think about a time when you had a goal, but you didn't achieve it. What was the first thought in your mind? Was it a reason outside of you? I didn't get the promotion because my boss plays favorites. I couldn't start my business because the economy is bad. I didn't wake up early because I slept late. These may all seem like logical reasons, but they are still excuses. And the moment you give in to them, you let them define you. Because if you convince yourself that the reason for your lack of success is something outside of you, then you also accept that your success is out of your control. And that is a dangerous mindset to have. It makes you powerless. The most respected people in the world did not get there because they had perfect circumstances. They got there because they refused to let their circumstances control them. They got there because instead of saying, "I couldn't because of this," they said, "How can I make this work despite this?" They didn't focus on problems, they focused on solutions. They didn't look at obstacles as stop signs, they saw them as challenges to overcome. That is why people respect them, not because they never failed, but because they never made excuses. Now, think about the last time someone gave you an excuse. Maybe a friend who always cancels plans at the last minute with some vague reason. Maybe a coworker who never meets deadlines but always has a story about why it wasn't their fault. Maybe someone who constantly talks about their dreams but never takes action, blaming timing, circumstances, or bad luck. How do you feel about them? Do you fully trust them? Do you believe in them? Or, deep down, do you see them as unreliable, as someone who talks more than they act? That is the exact way people feel about you when you make excuses. It doesn't matter how valid your excuse is. What matters is that you let it stop you. And that is why respect is lost. The reality is, life is always going to be full of reasons to quit, to not show up, to take the easy way out. But those reasons are not there to stop you, they are there to test you. They are there to see if you are truly committed, if you are truly worthy of respect. Because the truth is, the world doesn't respect weakness, it respects resilience. It respects the ones who fall but get back up. It respects the ones who take full responsibility for where they are no matter what. So if you want to be respected, stop explaining why things didn't happen, start making them happen. Instead of saying, "I couldn't do this because," start saying, "I made this happen despite." Be the person who takes ownership of every success and every failure. Be the person who doesn't need to justify their setbacks because they are already working on a comeback. When you do this, when you remove excuses from your mindset, something incredible happens. People start to trust you. They start to admire your strength, your determination, your ability to rise above challenges. And before you know it, you are no longer someone who just talks about respect. You are someone who commands it. Respect is not about what you demand from others. It is about how you carry yourself. It is earned. in the way you show up, in the way you speak, in the way you handle challenges. But too many people sabotage their own respect without even realizing it. They seek validation from the world, hoping that if enough people approve of them, they will finally feel worthy. They talk about others instead of working on themselves, thinking that tearing someone else down will somehow lift them up. And worst of all, they say things they never follow through on, making promises they don't keep, slowly eroding their credibility with every empty word. The truth is, respect is not just about being liked. It is about being trusted. It is about being someone whose words and actions align, someone who is solid, reliable, and unshakable. When you live for approval, you become a version of yourself that is shaped by other people's expectations. You say yes when you want to say no. You hold back your opinions to avoid conflict. You change yourself depending on who you are with, hoping to be accepted. But here's what happens. The more you try to fit in, the more people overlook you. Because respect is not given to those who mold themselves to please others. It is given to those who stand firm in who they are, no matter who is watching. The moment you stop seeking validation, you start owning your power. You start making decisions based on what is right for you, not on what will get you the most approval. And when you do that, people notice. They may not always agree with you, but they will respect you. But what happens when your words say one thing and your actions say another? The fastest way to lose respect is to be inconsistent, to promise things you never deliver, to make commitments and then break them. Because respect is built on trust, and trust is built on reliability. If you say you will do something, do it. If you cannot do it, do not say it. Every time you let your words outrun your actions, you weaken your credibility. And once credibility is gone, respect follows. People pay attention to patterns, not just moments. It does not matter how passionate you sound in the moment. If you never follow through, it does not matter how convincing your promises are if they are never backed by action. The people who are truly respected in this world are the ones who are known for being dependable, for being consistent, for being the kind of person who does not need to be reminded of their commitments because they honor them naturally. And then there is the issue of negativity. It is easy to complain. It is easy to find faults in others. It is easy to join in when people gossip, to feel a momentary sense of superiority by bringing someone else down. But respect is never given to the ones who waste their energy on negativity. It is given to the ones who rise above it. No one admires a person who always has something bad to say. No one trusts a person who speaks about others behind their back. No one looks up to someone who constantly focuses on problems but never offers solutions. If you want to be respected, you need to be mindful of what comes out of your mouth. Your words create your reputation, your energy creates the atmosphere around you. And if you are always the person who spreads negativity, people will start avoiding you, not just physically, but emotionally. They will stop taking you seriously. They will see you as someone who drains, not someone who builds. There is power in being the kind of person who speaks with intention, who does not waste time on gossip because they are too focused on growth, who does not seek approval because they are already confident in their own worth, who does not make empty promises but instead moves in silence, letting their actions speak louder than their words. That is the kind of person people respect. That is the kind of person people trust. And that is the kind of person you have the choice to become. Respect is something that is built over time through consistent actions, discipline, and the way you choose to carry yourself. It is not demanded, it is earned. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to gain respect is their habit of making excuses. Excuses are comfortable, easy, and they give you a way out of responsibility, but they also strip you of credibility. When people hear someone constantly explaining why things didn't happen, why the odds were against them, why life was unfair, they stop taking them seriously. Because the truth is, everyone has obstacles, everyone has challenges, and yet some people rise above while others stay stuck. The difference? Those who are respected own their actions. They don't blame circumstances, they don't wait for perfect conditions, and they don't let excuses define their future. When you start taking full responsibility for your life, people notice. They see that you're someone who doesn't just talk, you act. And that action is what earns you respect. Seeking validation is another habit that silently destroys respect. It's natural to want to be liked, to want approval, to want people to acknowledge your worth. But the moment you start shaping your decisions around what will make others happy, you lose yourself. You find yourself saying yes when you mean no, agreeing with things just to avoid conflict, changing who you are depending on who you are with. And the more you do this, the more invisible you become, because respect doesn't come from blending in. It comes from standing out. It comes from being so secure in yourself that you don't need external approval to feel valuable. Think about the people who command respect effortlessly. They are not trying to be liked. They are not adjusting their personality to fit the room. They are simply being themselves unapologetically. And that confidence, that self-assurance, makes people respect them. But even confidence means nothing if your words and actions don't align. One of the quickest ways to lose respect is to be inconsistent, to say things you don't follow through on. Every time you promise something and fail to deliver, you weaken your credibility. It doesn't matter if your intentions were good. What people remember is whether or not you did what you said you would do. Respect is built on trust, and trust is built on reliability. If people know that your word holds weight, they will respect you. If they know that your words are empty, they will stop listening. The ones who are truly respected in this world are the ones who move with consistency. They don't have to announce their plans because their results speak for themselves. They don't have to convince people of their integrity because their actions prove it. And when you become someone who follows through, respect follows naturally. Then there's negativity and gossip, two of the most destructive habits when it comes to respect. It's easy to fall into the trap of complaining, of talking about what's wrong, of pointing out other people's flaws. But no one respects a person who constantly spreads negativity. No one looks up to someone who is always focused on tearing others down. The more you engage in gossip, the more people associate you with it. And here's the thing about gossip. The people who listen to you talk about others today will assume you talk about them when they're not around. It creates distrust. It makes you seem small. And people don't respect smallness. People respect those who elevate conversations, who focus on solutions instead of problems, who bring energy into a room instead of draining it. If you want to be respected, make sure your words are intentional. Make sure your presence adds value. Make sure people associate you with strength, not pettiness. All of these habits are things that many people fall into without realizing how damaging they are. But the truth is, respect is a reflection of how you show up in the world. It's about what you tolerate in yourself, how you handle setbacks, how you treat others, and how consistent you are. The people who are respected are not perfect. They just understand that their actions shape the way the world sees them. They take responsibility instead of making excuses. They stand firm in who they are instead of seeking approval. They follow through instead of just talking. And they speak with purpose instead of spreading negativity. That is the kind of person people trust. That is the kind of person who commands respect. And that is the kind of person you have the power to become. Respect is not something you can demand, nor is it something that automatically comes with status, power, or wealth. It is earned through the way you live, the way you treat others, and the standards you hold yourself to. Too many people sabotage their own respect without realizing it, falling into habits that make them unreliable, untrustworthy, or simply forgettable. If you want to be someone who commands respect wherever you go, you need to remove the habits that silently destroy it. Excuses, seeking validation, inconsistency, negativity, and a lack of self-discipline are some of the biggest barriers to earning the respect you deserve. Excuses are one of the most common yet damaging habits that destroy respect. They feel justified in the moment, they protect your ego, they make failure seem less personal, and they allow you to avoid responsibility. But every excuse you make weakens your credibility. The people who are truly respected in this world are the ones who take ownership of their actions, their successes, and their failures. They do not blame circumstances, luck, or other people for their shortcomings. Instead, they focus on what they can control, and they take action. The moment you stop making excuses and start taking full responsibility for your life, people begin to see you as someone who is strong, reliable, and worthy of respect. Seeking validation is another trap that prevents people from being truly respected. The need for approval is deeply ingrained in many, but when you rely on external validation, you give away your power. You start making decisions based on what will please others instead of what is right for you. You agree with opinions you don't believe in. You say yes when you want to say no, and you become more focused on being liked than being respected. But respect does not come from people-pleasing. It comes from confidence, from authenticity, from standing firm in your beliefs, even when they are unpopular. The people who are truly respected do not change themselves to fit in. They are unapologetically themselves, and that self-assurance is what makes others admire them. Even confidence, however, means little without consistency. A person who constantly makes promises but never follows through quickly loses the respect of those around them. Trust is built on reliability. If people cannot count on you to do what you say you will do, they will stop taking you seriously. It does not matter how passionate your words are if they are not backed by action. Respect is not given to those who talk about what they are going to do. It is given to those who actually do it. The ones who are truly respected move in silence and let their results speak for themselves. They do not need to convince anyone of their integrity because their actions prove it every day. Negativity and gossip are two of the fastest ways to lose respect. It is easy to complain, to find faults in others, and to engage in meaningless conversations that tear people down. But no one respects someone who constantly spreads negativity. The people who gossip with you today will assume you gossip about them tomorrow. The more you participate in those conversations, the more people associate you with drama, small-mindedness, and pettiness. True respect is given to those who elevate conversations, who focus on solutions instead of problems, who inspire and uplift rather than tear down. If you want to be respected, you must be mindful of the energy you bring into a room. Do people feel empowered after speaking with you, or do they feel drained? Are your words building something meaningful, or are they just adding to the noise? People who command respect do not waste time on negativity. They use their voice with purpose. A lack of self-discipline is one of the most overlooked reasons why people struggle to gain respect. Discipline is the foundation of success, and those who lack it often find themselves stuck, unable to follow through on their goals or commitments. People respect those who are in control of their own lives, who set standards for themselves and stick to them. Discipline is what separates those who talk about success from those who actually achieve it. It is what turns dreams into reality, plans into results, and potential into greatness. When people see that you have the discipline to show up every day, to push forward despite challenges, to remain focused when distractions arise, they respect you. Because discipline is rare, and those who master it stand out. Respect is not something that is given freely. It is earned through responsibility, confidence, reliability, positivity, and discipline. When you remove excuses, stop seeking validation, stay consistent, avoid negativity, and build self-discipline, you become someone that people look up to. You become someone whose presence carries weight, whose words matter, and whose actions inspire. And that is how you earn respect, not by asking for it, but by becoming the kind of person who naturally commands it. Respect is not something you receive simply because you want it. It is earned through the choices you make, the way you carry yourself, and the energy you bring into the spaces you enter. Many people struggle to gain respect not because they lack talent or ambition, but because they unknowingly engage in behaviors that undermine their credibility. If you want to be someone who commands respect effortlessly, you must remove the habits that silently diminish your influence. Making excuses, seeking validation, inconsistency, negativity, lack of self-discipline, poor communication, and avoiding responsibility are some of the most common ways people lose the respect they desire. Excuses are one of the biggest respect killers. People often use them to justify why they haven't achieved their goals, why they didn't follow through on commitments, while it may feel like a way to protect yourself. Every excuse chips away at your reliability. People respect those who take ownership of their actions, not those who constantly blame circumstances. Everyone faces challenges, but those who rise above them, instead of hiding behind excuses, are the ones who command respect. Seeking validation is another dangerous habit. It is natural to want approval from others, but the moment you allow their opinions to dictate your choices, you give away your power. People who constantly seek validation are seen as uncertain, weak, and easy to influence. The most respected individuals do not change themselves to fit the crowd. They remain true to who they are. They do not need external confirmation to know their worth. Respect comes from confidence, from standing firm in your beliefs, and from knowing that your value is not determined by how many people approve of you. Inconsistency is one of the fastest ways to lose respect. People trust those who are reliable, those who do what they say they will do, and those whose words and actions align. If one day you are highly motivated and the next you disappear, if you make promises but never follow through, people will stop believing in you. It does not matter how passionate or talented you are. If people cannot depend on you, they will not respect you. Consistency is what builds trust. It shows that you are disciplined, that you are serious about your commitments, and that you are someone people can count on. Negativity and gossip are toxic behaviors that instantly lower the level of respect people have for you. It is easy to complain, to criticize, and to bring others down, but it takes real strength to rise above it. No one respects someone who is always focused on problems instead of solutions. No one admires a person who speaks poorly about others behind their backs. Gossiping may make you feel powerful in the moment, but it ultimately makes you seem small. People who command respect use their words wisely. They uplift others, they focus on growth, and they bring energy into a room rather than draining it. A lack of self-discipline is one of the most overlooked reasons why people struggle to gain respect. Those who cannot control their impulses, stick to their goals, or maintain focus are often seen as unreliable. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. When people see that you are dedicated, that you follow through on your plans, and that you do not allow distractions to derail you, they respect you. Self-discipline is rare, and those who master it naturally gain the admiration of others. Poor communication is another habit that weakens respect. Some people struggle to express themselves clearly, while others dominate conversations without listening. True respect comes from balanced communication, the ability to articulate your thoughts with confidence while also respecting the perspectives of others. People who interrupt, talk too much without substance, or fail to listen are often dismissed. On the other hand, those who communicate with clarity, intention, and presence are respected. They do not need to raise their voices to be heard. Their words carry weight because they are spoken with purpose. Avoiding responsibility is a guaranteed way to lose respect. People admire those who step up, take charge, and handle their duties with confidence. If you shy away from accountability, shift blame onto others, or refuse to acknowledge your mistakes, you weaken your reputation. True respect is given to those who take responsibility for their actions, even when it is difficult. Owning your mistakes does not make you weak. It makes you strong. It shows that you are mature enough to learn, grow, and handle challenges without making excuses. Respect is not something that happens overnight, nor is it something you can force. It is built over time through actions, consistency, and integrity. When you remove excuses, stop seeking validation, stay consistent, avoid negativity, build self-discipline, communicate effectively, and take responsibility, you become the kind of person others naturally respect. People may not always agree with you, but they will recognize your strength. They will see that you stand firm in your values, that you are someone who follows through, and that you carry yourself with purpose. And that is what earns true respect. Not words, not demands, but the way you live your life. Respect is not something you ask for, nor is it something you can buy or demand. It is something you earn through the way you live, the choices you make, and the habits you cultivate. Many people struggle to earn respect, not because they lack talent or ambition, but because they engage in behaviors that slowly diminish their credibility. If you want to be someone who commands respect effortlessly, you must remove the habits that silently destroy it. Excuses, seeking validation, inconsistency, negativity, lack of self-discipline, poor communication, avoiding responsibility, and a weak mindset are some of the biggest reasons people fail to gain the respect they desire. Excuses are one of the biggest obstacles to earning respect. They may feel like a way to protect yourself from failure, but in reality, they make you look weak. Every time you make an excuse, you show that you are unwilling to take ownership of your actions. People respect those who take responsibility even when things go wrong. Everyone faces obstacles, but the ones who push through them instead of making excuses are the ones who earn admiration. The moment you stop blaming circumstances and start taking control of your own life, people begin to see you differently. They see you as someone who is strong, capable, and worthy of respect. Seeking validation is another trap that keeps people from gaining respect. When you constantly look for approval from others, you send the message that you do not trust yourself. You start making choices based on what will make people like you rather than what is right for you. You hesitate to express your true thoughts because you fear rejection. But the people who are truly respected do not need external validation to feel valuable. They are confident in who they are, even when others disagree with them. The moment you stop chasing approval and start standing firm in your beliefs, people will respect you, even if they do not always agree with you. Inconsistency is one of the fastest ways to lose respect. If people cannot rely on you, they will not take you seriously. You cannot say one thing today and do something different tomorrow. You cannot make promises and then fail to deliver. Respect is built on trust, and trust is built on reliability. If you want to be respected, you must be consistent. You must show up every day, follow through on your commitments, and prove that your words mean something. People respect those who are steady, those who do not change based on the situation, and those whose actions align with their words. Negativity and gossip are two of the most toxic habits that destroy respect. It is easy to criticize, to find faults in others, and to bring people down. But no one respects someone who is always focused on problems instead of solutions. No one admires a person who spends their time tearing others down instead of improving themselves. The more you engage in gossip, the more people see you as untrustworthy. They assume that if you speak badly about others behind their backs, you will do the same to them. People who command respect do not waste time on negativity. They focus on growth, on solutions, and on elevating themselves and those around them. A lack of self-discipline is another major reason people fail to earn respect. Discipline is the foundation of success. Without it, talent and ambition mean nothing. People respect those who are in control of their own lives, who set standards for themselves and stick to them. If you lack discipline, you'll struggle to follow through on your goals, and others will see you as unreliable. And when you have the discipline to work hard, to push forward despite challenges, and to stay focused even when it is difficult, people admire you. Discipline is rare, and those who master it naturally earn respect. Poor communication is a habit that weakens respect. Some people struggle to express themselves clearly, while others dominate conversations without listening. True respect comes from balanced communication, the ability to speak with confidence while also respecting the perspectives of others. People who interrupt, talk too much without substance, or fail to listen are often dismissed. On the other hand, those who communicate with clarity, intention, and presence are respected. They do not need to raise their voices to be heard. Their words carry weight because they are spoken with purpose. Avoiding responsibility is a guaranteed way to lose respect. People admire those who step up, take charge, and handle their duties with confidence. If you shy away from accountability, shift blame onto others, or refuse to acknowledge your mistakes, you weaken your reputation. True respect is given to those who take responsibility for their actions, even when it is difficult. Owning your mistakes does not make you weak. It makes you strong. It shows that you are mature enough to learn, grow, and handle challenges without making excuses. Respect is not something that happens overnight, nor is it something you can force. It is built over time through actions, consistency, and integrity. When you remove excuses, stop seeking validation, stay consistent, avoid negativity, build self-discipline, communicate effectively, and take responsibility, you become the kind of person others naturally respect. People may not always agree with you, but they will recognize your strength. They will see that you stand firm in your values, that you are someone who follows through, and that you carry yourself with purpose. And that is what earns true respect. Not words, not demands, but the way you live your life.